Welcome, gamers from around the globe. You've dropped into the best place for Game Pass news. That's right, it's the Game Pass Tracker Show. This is episode 148, recorded live Thursday, April 11th. I'm Nick Metzger here with the best dang co-host a guy could ever have, Mr. Sean Abbott. We're gonna fill your brains with all this week's bits and bobs of Xbox, like are $70 games going away? Will Xbox's next-gen hardware be as huge a leap as Sarabon says so? And finally, of course, the Fallout show, baby. It's out. It's available. You can watch it right now on Amazon. You better sit down, buckle up, because Game Pass Tracker Show is one crazy ride.
Hello and guten Tag. Hello, everybody. I'm trying to roll every time we go into this. I'm trying to do some way of saying hello differently. And today we had German. Welcome to today's show. I just want to welcome you all to your favorite Xbox Game Pass podcast, the Game Pass Tracker Show. You can find us on pretty much every social networking app that is out there at the moment. Everything is at GPT Gaming News. If you have any thoughts, any questions, don't hesitate to shoot an email to us. It's show@gamepasstracker.com. And if you're really liking what you hear, go onto your podcast platform app of choice. Give us a review, give us some stars. It really does help us reach more fans. If you backtrack, watched far too much Fallout. I also have a cold, so I'm not doing very well with this. We wouldn't be a Game Pass show without promoting the big daddy itself, Xbox Game Pass. If you love Game Pass, like we do, and you love our show, like we do, and you want to show your support, you can head to the link in the description and sign up to Game Pass within the next 24 hours from the Xbox.com website. Not only will you be supporting us, the Game Pass Tracker Show, but you'll also be signing up to the best gaming subscription going out there, which has got a whole host of games. So sign up, whatever level you desire, whether that be PC Game Pass, Core, or Game Pass Ultimate. Just play your own way. And by using the code in the chat, in the show notes, you'll be able to help us continue to create this, what I would call awesome, but I've absolutely slayed the beginning bit after Nick's amazing intro, content that we make for you, our amazing fans. So without further ado, Nick, please help me and take us into the Game Pass headlines.
The Game Pass headlines for this week. Hey, I just wanted to quickly, before we get too far, if you look at the description of this live video and you're like, oh, they're talking about Fallout, I haven't seen the video, I haven't seen the first episode, I don't want anything to do about that. Don't tell me anything. I don't want to know. I get you. We get you. We aren't going to talk about it until the very end of the show. What we normally do is party chat. That's going to be our feature story. We're going to talk about Fallout Episode 1. So at that point, we will give you plenty of notice. You can drop out if you want to. If you've watched it, you want to hear our thoughts and chat with us maybe in Twitch chat or something like that, then you more than welcome to do that. We'd love to have it. But I just wanted to let you know so that if you wanted to stick around, you didn't have to be worried about getting spoiled about anything because we wouldn't do that to you. Anyway, so now back onto the normal roll of show, which is what games are coming to Game Pass this week. This week we had Kona, cloud and console. Let me move this over here so I can actually talk into the mic. Another game is making a return to the Game Pass library. A strange blizzard ravages a Temepec Lake. I laughed at you last time and you had to say that, and now I got to say it, dang it. Step into the shoes of a detective to explore the eerie village, investigate surreal events, and battle the elements to survive in this chilly, interactive tale you won't soon forget. That was April 9th, 2 days ago. And then also that the game that came out on Tuesday, April 9th, Botany Manor, available everywhere, but only for Xbox Series X and S. We got to figure available everywhere and Xbox Series X and S. We got to figure out a way to say that, Sean, that rolls a little bit better than like available everywhere, but not really. Only Xbox Series X and S.
Well, how about this? Available everywhere, but next gen only.
I was going to have to workshop that for like a day, and you just did it in like 2 minutes. Less than that, actually. We won't talk about it. Available everywhere, next gen only. Tuesday, April 9th, it came out. Available on day one with Game Pass. Explore the historic manor, home of a retired botanist, Arabella Green, who has amassed a collection of rare, long-forgotten flora that require special conditions to help them bloom. Unlock new seeds, look for clues in the items scattered around the residence, and solve each gardening puzzle to revive these plants. Then, out today, Thursday, April 11th, available everywhere. Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Experience the final chapter of Lara's origin as she is forged into the Tomb Raider she is destined to be. Combining the base game, all 7 DLC challenge tombs, as well as all downloadable weapons, outfits, and skills, Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is the ultimate way to experience Laura's defining moment. And those are the games that you have to play this week, out this week on Game Pass. Sean, tell us about all the games that are coming out next week.
So all these amazing games that are coming out next week is Harold Halibut, and that's it. That's coming April 16th. So that's not coming out until the late. Is it late next week or early? Early next week?
I guess it's early Tuesday.
So middle of the week, Tuesday, I believe. Tuesday the 16th of April. This is an available on day one with Game Pass. So it's one of those rare treats that, well, I say rare treats, we seem to be getting more of them nowadays, but it's one of those treats that we get from Xbox and Game Pass, that we get a game the day it comes out to Game Pass. Harold Halibut is a handmade narrative game about friendship and life on a city-sized spaceship submerged in an alien ocean. Join Harold as he explores a vibrant retro future world in his quest to find the true meaning of home. You can learn more about Harold Halibut if you go to the Xbox Wire's website. They have a hands-on preview there that you can watch, and I'm assuming as well that'll probably be on their YouTube channel. And then that's it. That's the only game that's coming out next week. We are at a point where we believe we'll probably get another drop and another placard of games, probably around the Tuesday mark next week. I reckon it'll either be late Monday or early Tuesday that we'll get that.
Yeah, games coming out that we know about in the next month. We have 2 of them. Iodine Chronicles 100 Heroes. That's supposed to come out April 23rd. And Manor Lords PC Game Pass only April 26th. Those are only 2 games coming out in the next month that we know about, other than obviously Harold Halibut, which Sean just told you about. So
yeah. I think well, I don't know why we get this quiet period. We seem to have we had by the 4th of April we had 7 games out, or 6 games, sorry, with more games announced. And now, literally less than a week later, we're well, the rest of April looks pretty dry.
Yeah, I think they like to do these surprise drops. I really think we'll have some on Tuesday. That's hey, here you go. Here's what you're gonna play for the next, week and a half, 2.5 weeks, something like that. So that's what I think we'll see.
Yeah. So, and then we've got the same raft of games that are leaving on April 15th. We've got the Amnesia Collection, Amnesia Rebirth, Back 4 Blood, Phantom Abyss, Research and Destroy, and Soma. And they all leave April 15th. So, yeah, Tuesday would probably be either Tuesday or Thursday would be a pretty good day to get those, because then we'll get the next announcement of games that are coming and games that are leaving. The Xbox Wire is pretty good at doing a double drop. A whole article telling us everything and giving us a full detail of all the games.
For sure. Yeah, I'm interested in these games. I'm interested in, Botany Manor, which I think I said last week, and Harold Halibut. Those are the 2 that I would like to play. But I'm not going to lie, life's been a bit crazy. So all the games I said I'd like to play, so far I haven't played. But I'm going to really try hard.
He says he's going to really try hard, but I know you're already into the 2nd episode of Fallout, so I know if you get any free time, that's what you'll just be distracted by something shiny to watch.
That is so true. That is very, very accurate. So yeah.
My voice is getting worse and worse. I am working this weekend. I'll probably be napping tomorrow because it gets pretty early in the morning here in the UK when we do these shows. So I tend to try and catch up on some sleep. Otherwise, I end up a grumpy, tired dad at the end of the day after the podcast. Um, Also, doesn't help recovering from a sore throat and general messing around on skateboards and stuff like that because I was doing that again today. But like in the meantime, to chill out, I definitely want to, like I said last week, play some of the Shadow of the Tomb Raider. But I'm pretty elbow deep into a little Gator game at the moment. It's thoroughly enjoying that, so I'll probably play some more of that. I think it's one of those games that um, you might not see the ending of very quickly, but it'll just like quickly peel around and get you. But I'm having
Sure.
a lot of fun with it so far.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's interesting. Is what I never saw that coming. Is what I guess I'm trying to say. I never thought Sean would be like,
Yeah,
I'm kind of elbows deep into the little Gator game. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, good for you. Now I do want to try it though. It sounds interesting. It sounds like it's up my alley. So, anyways, we kind of got we've squirreled away into the dashboard before we even hit the top stories, and that's my bad. Yeah, that is your Game Pass headlines, folks. Remember these games that Sean mentioned that are leaving. If you want to buy them with 25% off with your Game Pass sub, you need to get them bought by April 15th. Otherwise, your 20% goes goodbye. So you got to buy them or beat them by April 15th. Get on it.
yep,
Are we in?
sure. I all I want to say is that what do I want to say? I had something that just flashed into my head and it's now completely disappeared. If you want most up to date news, you know where to go. The GP2 gaming news Twitter account, X account. I can't, still even now, like we've been dealing with X for 6 months, they still can't stop saying Twitter.
Yeah, no, it's ingrained pretty
They
deep.
we every time a new game drops, you'll get an alert to say you'll post about new games, and you'll get videos and you'll get screenshots and stuff like that showing the game off. It's a fantastic little arrangement that our social media crew have got at the moment. So keep your eyes peeled there for any information that's coming soon.
Awesome. On to the X feed. Hey, the X Feed is where we talk about the top stories out this week, news bulletins that we think you need to know, quick stories, and then the feature story, which, like we said, will be moved to Potty Chat. Here we go. Here we go. Top stories. We have 3. And man, this first one I am interested in. Saber Interactive CEO reckons $70 game prices will go away. That's not, when I read it, I was like, no, I read that wrong. Go away? Because I'm like, say what? I mean, in our news bulletins, we'll just spoil a news bulletin. We have Star Wars Outlaws launching, and they're getting flack for a definitive edition that's $100. Do you think $70 game prices are going away, Sean?
Um, um, I think they're going to go away. 'Cause I honestly think that there's going to be a level of games in a whole physical style games disappearing in the next decade for definite. But over the next 5 years, with how this subscription style based game is going with things like Game Pass, with NSO, with the PlayStation's gaming subscription kind of thing, I have a feeling that like just dropping a huge amount on one game is going to go away, and you're going to be doing it trickle paying it like you are Netflix. Like you're paying. I don't know. I think I paid £16 a month for things like Netflix. You're going to do that, or even pay a one-off like you do for Amazon Prime every year, and get like a few big games day one kind of thing, AAA games day one for the price of a monthly subscription. I can see why they want to do it. I fully understand why they bumped it up from 50 to 70, because you've got like obviously your overheads and everything like that increases, people's wages increase, the cost for making these things have increased because you've got to pay for the electricity, things like inflation, all those kind of things have ramped up the reason as to why we're having to pay the $70 for a game. How they go from charging the 70 to then maybe charging less, I don't know, because that to me means that you're either cutting corners or we're not potentially not getting the polished games that we want because they aren't taking the time and the effort to do it, or they've been really smart and engineered ways to make the games at a you know in a cost effective way so they can recuperate some of that and drop the price of the game.
That's funny you say that. So the who the gentleman we're talking here, Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Karch, he and his team are about to release a $70 game in Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, and ironically, he says, funnily enough, it seems he doesn't actually want to sell Space Marine 2 at a $70 price point. Instead, he thinks it's necessary to do so to ensure that gamers don't associate it with a poor quality release, as discussed in the chat with IGN. This is an IGN article or interview that they did. So I find it interesting that it's a double-edged sword, right? Oh, I guess they're making more money, but if they lower it, it doesn't necessarily mean that more people are going to just want to buy it or be able to buy it or be willing to buy it. It may mean that less people want to buy it because they're like, oh, well, if it's only $50, it must be a shitty game. So it's an interesting bit of branding that needs to be done of like, just because it's a $40 game doesn't mean it's not a good game. Which I thought we were past, Sean. I mean, like with the indie market, there's a lot of games that release for $30 on the indie scene that people absolutely love. Like, is that a thing? Like, are we really worried about that?
Yeah, I think we are drawn too much into the, well, if I'm not spending $70 on a game, I'm not going to be getting like the top tier of games. Like Tunic was what they came out on the Switch for less than $25. I think it was like 24. I say less. I think it was like a cent less.
Right.
But
yeah, I get you.
It was there for $24.99. And that game was superb. One of my most favorite games from last year. That wasn't $70, but it was well made. There was so much playability with the game. There was so much depth to the game. But yeah, I think there's an essence of obviously people wanting to try and make as much money from selling their product as possible, but also, you take Finji and the guys behind Tunic and you look at those and you think, well, they're only a small studio and they didn't charge everybody $70. In fact, it spent a lot of time on a subscription service before it actually came out as a physical purchase, and did absolutely stellar. So I think there is a way, or there's a gap in the market for people to look at it and how it's to be kind of regulated. I know there's Tim in the Twitch chat that's saying, do we need some sort of price regulation to keep things in order? I don't think we need a price regulation, but I think we definitely need to come away from that stigma of, well, it isn't a fantastic game if I'm paying top dollar for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the regulation's hard and difficult because of Game Pass and other subscription services like it, right? You have these companies that are possibly charging less because they're getting, I don't want to say subsidized, but they're getting subsidized makes it sound like they don't deserve what they're getting. They're getting their cost up front from like a Microsoft who's saying, hey, put this on our subscription and let our people play it for free with our sub, and we'll give you X amount of dollars. And that number changes depending on the negotiation, which then that has to go into their decision of how much they charge for a game. How much is Microsoft or whoever, PlayStation, whoever the subscription's from, how much are they getting from that game? And how much do they want to get from other players? Can they get from other players? Does it have to be on Xbox? Is it exclusive? If it's exclusive, then that player base shrinks. If it's exclusive to Xbox and it's on Game Pass, well, then that shrinks it even more because, Xbox players are probably not going to buy a Game Pass game immediately, at least if it's on there. Now that might not be true. Xbox has those numbers. I guarantee you, when they sit down with a developer or publisher, they're pitching those numbers, right? I guarantee you they have those numbers of like, hey, listen, you put it on Game Pass, we'll give you this much money, but do you know this is what we see? We see that game gets sold when we take it off of the subscription. X number of people go and purchase that game right before it goes off subscription to get that 20% discount that Nick tells you about every single week. and so I guarantee you that's the way they're churning those numbers so that they're like, oh, cool. This is how I can make even more cash. This is my ROI, my return on investment. So yeah, I think it's interesting, but I think the subscription service, man, mucks it up, and that's not in a bad way. It just makes it more difficult to price a game in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for the subscription service because I've played. I mean, I look through the games that I've had on my dashboard. I look through my recent achievements and stuff like that, and I've played, I'd say, well over 50 plus games in the last 12 months,
Sure.
maybe more. I've got ones that I always circle back to that I always like. I like to play. They're the ones that I kind of call my brain out games where I play them that much. It's kind of like muscle memory. It's kind of a way of zoning out and relaxing and getting rid of the noise of everything. But like, yeah, 50 plus games. Now, if you were to boil that down, an average price of a game, some of those have been AAA games and some of them haven't been AAA games, have been indie games. If you want to hit a ballpark roughness of about $45 per game, that's a lot of money. That would be well over for, like, I don't know, let me do the maths. I can't do the maths in my head really quick.
Tim, I totally agree with you. I think Xbox is or Game Pass is totally a deal. While you're doing the math, by the way, I was kind of vamping while you're doing math. So you come back.
So if I was wanting to play those games or have purchased those games, that's over $2,000. That's over $2,000 to have played 50 different games. But I've paid $12.99 a month for 10 months. So what's that? $120.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've played 50 games where. So it's a saving. To me, it's a saving, and it's a huge thing in this day and age. It's a huge thing to be able to have access to so many games for a monthly fee that are great games. Obviously, there is some that come through and there is issues with them, but they are soon rectified. I mean, what was the one that you were playing that had loads of issues, but you talked to the
Coral
developer
Island.
and Coral Island. So Coral Island came with some issues, and it did, but they were really quick with fixing it. Obviously, they had the net to get through with Xbox in terms of patch notes and stuff like that. They have to be reviewed by Xbox. It just makes that process a little bit slower than it would on something like Steam. But they get through, they get there, they get fixed. And it was fantastic. That game grew and grew and grew to like something that you really loved and things like that. So
yeah,
all those things kind of add up that, I've saved nearly I've saved over £2,000. I've saved over $2,000 in cash. I've played these 50 games. Some of them have been AAA day one games. Some of them have been fantastic little indie games. So it kind of balances out in that retrospect. And I struggle to justify the price of a game. So like I look at it and I'm like, okay, how much time do I have to play this game?
God, you're one of those people? You do the time division by the price?
Well, I have to. I have 3 kids. I have 3 kids and a full-time job. So I kind of have to look at it and be like, am I going to be able to play this, like, give the time to play this game to warrant paying $70 for it? $70 can feed, like, our entire household for a week.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Oh,
so that's how I look at it.
You're just wondering, do you have time to play it? I thought you were dividing the amount of... So I have heard the argument of like, no. The game's 10 hours and I'm going to pay $70. So that's like $7 an hour. And I don't know if that's really worth the time and the effort. And when I could play X and get 3,000 hours, and I'm like, oh, come on, man.
No. For me, it's one of those, like, if I'm going to be dropping that much cash on it, I'm going to be devoting a set amount of time to play it and enjoy the game, sort of thing. Enjoy the fact that I've spent a week's worth of shopping on a video game kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And I know it's a really grown up parenty thing to say, but sometimes we have to have that grown up parenty idea in your head because, you know, if I'd have spent 2.5 grand on video games in the last 18 months, I don't think I'd be very well favored with the wife.
No,
So
no.
yeah,
But I have a basement, so you just fly over here and you can hang out in my basement once she kicks you out. Of course, then I don't know how you're going to get to work, but we'll figure that out another day. So, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of it, and what I was saying with Tim is I do agree. I think that subscription Game Pass is a huge perk of Xbox. I don't know. I'm gonna be careful here, but I'm just gonna be honest. Well, hell, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know that I'd own an Xbox if it didn't have Game Pass. I'm just gonna come out and say it.
no. That's that. The thing is, that's one of the things that drew you to it when we were
Yeah.
doing, and like when we were doing Dad Crossing and stuff, and I was telling you like, oh yeah, I haven't put much time into Animal Crossing this week, or like, you know, this cool game's dropped on Game Pass. So I've been playing this as well as Animal Crossing, so I haven't really done all the new cool stuff that we could do in it. The more and more we spoke about it, the more and more you became intrigued at the fact that you had, hey, like I was playing all these really cool games and not having to purchase
Yeah.
them repeatedly, and it kind of drew you in. He was like, okay, yep, I've pulled the trigger. I bought the console, and I'm in. I'm sold. I'm done. And then obviously Game Pass News was born from that, and then we moved into Game Pass Tracker Show. But it just makes sense, and it is a perk. It is a huge perk of owning an Xbox. It's going to be a huge perk for anybody that can get access to the Game Pass subscription service because it's going to be coming to other places. Those games are becoming available on other platforms that we can get as part of their subscription service. So you know that was one of the plans that Phil's got. He wants everybody to be able to play these everywhere. But yeah, I'm super excited about Game Pass. I'm super excited about the money that I'm saving having this really awesome subscription. And you know, I'm also a little bit excited that this announcement by I can't remember his name for the CEO of Saber Interactive, was it Karch?
Yeah.
You know, if he is right and the price of games do drop and we're going to see AAA games at a lower price point, I'm also excited about that because some of these AAA games that don't quite make it to Game Pass, I will be more inclined to purchase because I could justify spending that amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's my point. It's not that these games aren't worth what they're being charged. I mean, games have the lowest rate of inflation of probably anything and any type of media. I'm pretty sure. I'm going off the cuff here, so I don't know if that's true. But it's like I remember my parents paying $50 for a game when I was a kid, and we're still paying $50 for a game now. And back then, the dinosaurs roamed, and you could get a gallon of gas for $1. Now you're getting it for 3 times that. And so it's like, I don't think the price of games is a problem. Like I don't think that what am I trying to say? I don't think it's an undeserved amount of money, but it's just also, as you're saying, a week's worth of groceries. So it is something that you need to, weigh out. Do you feed the kids or do you buy the newest game? You do both. You'd figure it out.
And this is the thing. I plan ahead for things. So like, if Nintendo were to turn around during the summer showcase era, so they're E3, and they were to say we have a new, the Metroid Prime 4 is coming later on in the year, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to factor that in now because I have to buy that game because I want to play that game, so I'm going to have to buy it because it's not going to come to Game Pass, because it's on a service that doesn't allow to have Game Pass, etc., etc. So I will factor that in. I'll be like, okay, I'm going to get that. I mean, Still Wakes the Deep was almost it was a game where I was almost going to purchase it. Was it the remaster of Metal Gear Solid 3? Snake Eater? I'm on the fence about buying that because I thoroughly enjoyed that game, and it's one of those where you can play it in small segments when I do have the time between being a parent and working and etc. etc. So I would pull the trigger on that. Some of these games I get so drawn, like Dying Light 2. I bought Dying Light 2, and I think I dropped on quite lucky that Lindsay ended up having COVID, so she kind of hid herself away. So I was doing all the dadding kind of things, and then like I'd put the kids to bed, and then I'd stop up until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning playing Dying Light 2 because I became absolutely absorbed in
I
that
remember
game.
that.
But
Yeah.
it came at a point where like because my partner was bad with COVID, I was allowed to not be at work, so I was just rinse and repeating with the game, basically taking the kids to school, catching up on sleep if I needed to, and then playing the game some more. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, it's a very interesting notion of like how much are you willing to pay for a game? And that's going to change, right? Like what you're willing to pay. I think a topic that goes along with this that I had kind of touched on, Star Wars Outlaws came out. You can pre-order it. You can also get a bundle for the Ultimate Edition for $115. Like, is that exorbitant? Is that worth it? Well, it's going to depend on you. Maybe Bruce is like our good friend who I think might be starting a podcast, but I actually don't know if it's him, but I'm pretty sure it's him.
he is starting a podcast. I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give that another week's grace just to double check all the kind of stuff with him.
Hey, it's on
But yeah,
Twitter,
he is
baby. It's
starting.
on Twitter. It's happening. That's at that point,
Right.
it's too late. You put it on Twitter. We talk
Oh
about
yeah.
it.
So yeah, our good friend Bruce, who's been on the show, we talk about him quite often. He's a big figure within the Nintendo Dads community, which
I
is a
mean, not
great
by
community, by the way.
size. Okay, we're not saying
Um,
he's big that way, but no, I'm sorry.
no, he does. He makes these really cool Triforces, which I believe you
He
have
does.
one.
Oh, I do.
And
It's in
he's
my
now going to
office.
be creating. He's going to now going to start creating Star Wars content as well. So
Yeah. Anyway, so like, but my point is, it's interesting because that $115, which they're getting bagged on for right now, of like, oh, is this really worth it? Blah blah blah. Is like, well, it might be for the right person. Like, it's up to that person to decide if they're willing to pay the $115 and what that means to them. I am
so
commonly somebody who is in on early access. Now I don't know if I'm in on
yeah, this
this
is this.
early access. This early access is a little pricey, um, but I'm
It is for the amount of time that you have it as well.
yeah, 3 days, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So 59. I mean, this is in pound sterling. So 59.99 gets you the base game, plus the Kessel Runner bonus pack, and then the gold edition, which is 94.99, which is a big jump.
mm-hmm.
Gets you 3 days early access plus the season pass. So I suppose that's not too bad if you're
Yeah,
gonna buy the season pass as well anyway.
okay.
And then there's like the Ultimate Edition, which is the base game, the runner pack, 3 day access, the season pass, Rogue Infiltrator bundle, some kind of shark bundle, a digital art book. Well, see, this is a lot.
It is. But for the right person, they're like, I mean, a digital art book is a bit like, I don't know. I always think of like, well, okay. You just took a bunch of PNGs and you put them in an Adobe file and then you paid me, and then you made me pay you for it. But I mean, it's their artwork, so they can do what they want. They can pay whatever they want for it. So that's fine.
This is true.
Yeah.
See,
but,
this is though prime. This is priming up for the death of physical releases though,
well, okay.
because you go back.
You're gonna put this all
go
on
back
Star
2
Wars
years.
Outlaws.
No. I'm not putting it all on Star Wars. I'm just saying they're gearing up for the death of physical releases, because like go back 3 years, and if this game was going to come out then, you'd be able to pre-order it in store, and you would get a book, like a steel case series with the book with the artwork in it. It'd become a collector's thing. But because the people are starting to shy away from physical media, thanks COVID, and we've gone this all digital era, they need to be able to offer their fans something for the extra cash. And like you say, sticking loads of PNGs in a Adobe file and emailing it to you. There you
yeah,
go.
yeah, I
That's your
know.
collector's edition.
I know. It's just, the book is so shiny. And I just want the book. Anyways. Man, I think we beat this to death. But it is a topic that I mean I could actually talk about other aspects of it, but we need to move on. So that is our story number one, $70 games. Sean, real quick, are they staying or going? Just yes or no.
I think it's going to lower. I think they will. I think that's why we're seeing divisions. So like with the acquisition of um, ABK from Xbox and stuff, and then there was people going from physical side of things, and then the fact that you're not having to actually use the plastic which people don't want you to use, and now just stick it all in a disc, which is pretty useless anyway now because it just becomes a key for you to download the actual game. I think that it's going to force that you can't make people pay premium for a game that you can't physically hold in your hand.
So that's a yes.
So, yeah, I think it's going to lower. Sorry, that was a really long-winded yes. I knew you were trying to say, "Oh, let's move this on," but yeah, this is a topic that's pretty.
I did it. I did it. It's my bad. I say it's staying. I don't think it's going anywhere. It's going to stay right where it's at, $70, and it might even edge up. Moving on, Ori Dev explains, story number 2, by the way. Ori Dev explains why it decided against third entry into the franchise. And man, this is a good answer. I know I saw some Twitter people out there talking that it's a cop-out. I do not believe that at all. I think we were able to complete the story of Ori. It's a complete arc now. If you play both games, it's a complete story. So, I realized I didn't say who was talking, and I was trying to go back and do that, and I can't find who this is. So it felt...
It's just Moon Studios.
Just Moon Studios. Is that all it says? Okay, so it's somebody from Moon Studios.
Yeah.
So it felt like the only way we could come back to Ori 3 is if we have more to say, more story to tell. I think that's so great. That is the answer. That is the truth. Like, you've told the story. Don't force more story that's not there, because it's not going to be near the game that the other two were. Just let it sit and let it be what it is.
And it was only literally like this morning when I woke up, I was laid in bed and I was like, I haven't played, what game haven't I played for a while? And I was literally thinking of Ori Will of the Wisp, and I was thinking, I might go back to that. I might go back and play it again because I really enjoyed that game. So
yeah, I don't have any problem with what they're saying. It's the Ted Lasso effect of like, hey man, end with people wanting more. And, everybody's like, no, we want more Ted Lasso. And they're like, listen, that's the story. That's the story we had to tell. We told it. We're happy with where it's at. We're done. And I think that, and we'll see if consumerism like wins out, because there's certainly scads of cash to be made if there's a season 4. But yeah, I think that kind of mentality makes for fantastic art and not just cop-out work that might not be near as good as its predecessors.
Yep. Don't flog a good thing to death.
Exactly. 100%. Okay, story number 3. Xbox doubles down on highly ambitious plans for next-gen hardware. Sarah Bond said at in the highly, vaulted podcast about with her and no pun intended.
Matt Booty.
Matt Booty and Phil Spencer, that they were having the largest leap in next gen, the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation. Now, I don't know who she's talking to here, but she's talking to fellas who have seen the Super NES to the N64, and I mean, there have been some leaps that we've seen, Sean.
And then we went from 8-bit to 16-bit, and then jumped from 16-bit to 32, and then went from 32 to 64, and then we went from 64 to 128. Wow.
How many bits you got in your pocket, Sarah? That's what we want to know. What's going on here? like what is the plan? That's a big statement, and people thought it was kind of just like mumbo jumbo fluff, but she doubled down on it and drilled down on it again and said, no. We're moving full speed ahead on our next generation hardware, focused on delivering the biggest technological leap ever in a generation.
Yeah, the issue I have with this is graphically, like what can your eyes kind of take on? I know the Unreal 5 engine looks fantastic, but you need to run that on a high end rig with a freaking awesome monitor, which mirrors the high end rig. For me, who sits on his beanbag in the middle of the living room floor with the lights dimmed down, playing it on a 4K TV, am I really going to get the benefits from this?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have no idea where they're going here, right? Like, I mean, or what they think they're going to do, or what it's going to look like, or yeah, are we going 16K? I mean, what 16K for the? I mean, what are we doing here that's going to make this happen? And what the hell are the file sizes going to look like on these games? You have to sell this thing with
Well,
like a teraflop.
well, let's quickly list the things that we want more from our consoles. More room to store our now digital games, lesser loading times, quicker processing, so things like quick resume work better, and a faster internet connection. So all of the above will work seamlessly while we're playing our digital and cloud-based games.
Yeah, that's all very well and good, but it's like none of those are going to be a gigantic leap in like I don't know what a gigantic leap in hardware even is. It's going to be one of those things, Sean, where they're going to tell me what I want to buy. I don't know what I want to buy. If you're like, with the largest leap in hardware you ever seen, Nick, just think it and we'll make it. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I even want. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with where I feels great, you know? So tell me what I want. They're going to sell me something and I'm going to be the one to be like, yep, this is the thing I never knew I wanted, but now I can't live without. So I'm interested.
Take my money.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you're at this point. Because I legitimately thought, like, what do I want? And I don't know. Do I want more Ks on the picture? No, I don't care. To be honest, I'm looking right now. You guys are gonna laugh. This isn't even a 4K TV. I'm talking like I'm looking at right now. Like, I mean, I don't care really, but somebody does. So maybe that's for them. What else do I want the things you said, but those aren't huge.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They aren't huge leaps. So I'm exactly the same boat as you. What to them negates this huge of a leap in technology? I mean, make the thing smaller, make it cool better, make it so it doesn't sound like it's going to take off with that cooling. Give me more room to store more games, and make things like quick resume and lesser loading times.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times when I was playing Forza Motorsport the other day, I had to restart because I kept crashing and I was trying to do really fast laps of the Nürburgring. And I kept getting annoyed with like having to wait 6 seconds rather than 3 seconds for the game to load. So it's unreal.
Yeah. Do you think maybe they don't even mean what, like, we're on the wrong track altogether? Like what they mean is like, hey, you know what? Here's your next leap, and here it is. It's this little guy, and it's gonna sit on your shelf, and it'll give you any game you want. You just click the button, and it'll just like be there. I mean, maybe it's that. Maybe it's not even what we're thinking. You know, maybe it's glasses. Maybe it's wearable technology. I don't know.
This is what I was going to say next. We're talking about the company that gave us Cortana and the Kinect bar.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of, it's like they're opening Pandora's box. It's like, what are they going to come with this? Because if they brought like a next generation version of the Kinect bar out where my kids could play like, you know, Fruit Ninja again and it be more accurate and be more responsive, because the Kinect bar was great, but you got too close, it freaked out and stuff like that. But if you can do that with you know, better sensors and things like that, then yeah, I'm sold. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, remember the kid in the pond, the trailer with the kid, and he touched the water in the pond. Oh, they so sold me on that, Sean. I was like, I need that Kinect bar. That was like the first gift my wife ever got me. I think as like a married couple. I'm pretty sure it was, and it was like she was like, "Here's the thing you always wanted," and it was fun, but not what they sold me on by any sense of the means. You're right. I mean, maybe we are literally stuck in a box when they're like, no. That's not even what we are talking about, folks. We are not in a box at all. We are way outside of that. So
Yeah.
very interesting to see. That is story number 3 for you. News bulletins. Pal World is officially getting an arena mode on Xbox later this year. Do you care, Sean?
I'm glad for the people that are still playing the game, but it's not going to bring me back to it, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Xbox's Hellblade 2 is on another level, says Digital Foundry, and then follows that up with they have concerns with the Series S that it might start to smoke or something. No, they didn't say that, but they do have concerns about whether the Series S can handle what they're seeing. Star Wars Outlaws launches this August on Xbox Series X and S. I believe it's August 31st. They could have made it a birthday present and made it August 13th. August 30th, sorry. That's my birthday. They could have maybe they'll send me a copy or a code for my birthday if I tell them. Do you think they will? If I'm like, "Hey, my birthday's August 13th. Just send me like a real early pre-release code."
Yeah, I mean, if you promise to play it live and stream everything, they might do. We got to kill that content. But no, that'd be pretty cool. I mean,
but
Bruce
God bless you for
probably
saying,
see
yeah,
green.
maybe, Nick. I mean,
you never know. Hey,
never do.
You don't get things in this world without asking.
That's amen to that.
You never know.
Amen to that. Okay, so those are our news bulletins. Our feature story, as we said, is all about Fallout, which we will push to Party Chat, and then we'll give you a heads up so that we don't spoil your episode 1 if you haven't gotten to it since it just dropped today. Which means we are on to the dashboard. The dashboard is where we talk about games we have been playing and games we are looking forward to playing on our docket. Sean, what have you been playing?
So as I've probably given teasers to as we've been talking throughout this, I've been playing a little bit of Forza Motorsport. Basically just doing hot laps in different cars and then Nordschleife, and now it's there and I can play it. My dad does a lot of online sim racing around it, so it's kind of like I like to watch him and then I like to try and beat his time and stuff like that in a similar car, which I can't do. That man is on another level when it comes to driving games. So I've been doing that. What else have we doing? I played a couple of matches of Fortnite, didn't do very well. I left Emily to the devices of that while she was playing. She came 13th in a ranked no build mode, which was pretty good. She did well. So that's that. And then the only other game that I've been playing is Little Gator Game. I said I was going to give it a try last week. So I decided to give it a try, and I went in with not very high hopes, just because it's an indie game. Graphically didn't look fantastic. Sorry, just clearing my throat. It's starting to tickle again. It didn't look graphically like it was going to be absolutely amazing, but the premise of the game is just brilliant. So you start off the story and you get to name your little gator in a way where he's playing with his big sister as their kids, and he kind of they want to make this game where he has to play a hero or an adventurer. So you give this hero a name, and I named my gator Gex, and that name then follows you throughout the entire game. But you kind of between them they make this game up and they play and then they have lots of fun. There's like and then there's a bit of a cutscene and then it comes back and your gator's grown up, big sister's grown up a little bit, and she's sat there and she's tapping away on her laptop and she's having to do work, but your little gator is kind of like trying to entice his big sister to come and play again. Come and play this game that we made up many, many years ago because I haven't seen you for a long time. And she kind of doesn't have any interest because she's busy. She's working on a project, and it's a really big one. It's important to her and stuff kind of thing. So she's kind of like very dismissive of him and things, bits and pieces like. So what he's done is he's teamed up with some of his friends. And on this little island, they put like cardboard cutouts of monsters and stuff, and they're making up pretend quests that he's got to do, and so you go about doing them, and they're really really simple things like go and get this pretend sword from the woods, like you would do like in Zelda, where you have to pull the sword out of the stone kind of thing. Go do that. And it literally takes 2 seconds to do this. You literally just have to hop up a couple of things, walk around the sticks in the ground, you pick it up, quest is over, and he does all this trying to entice his sister into it. It's a fun game. I got drawn in. I started playing it and then got really drawn in and ended up playing for 2.5 hours. So I got really drawn in. There's a big collection aspect to it. So once you get your stick/sword, you can hit these cardboard cutouts that you created. They burst into confetti, and you collect these confetti bits. That becomes the currency in the game. There's no fall damage. There's no enemies there to hurt you, kind of thing. So this is a really good game to play in front of your kids, or even let your kids play and stuff like that. And it's one of those that the platforming is dead simple. The idea of the game is really straightforward. But obviously they've got to be old enough to read, because there's quite a lot of written dialogue that pops up. But it's good fun. There's a stamina bar aspect to it, where you have to purchase bracelets to increase the stamina so you can climb for longer. You collect different swords and shields, so as you're going around you get blueprints to build these shields from the confetti you collect, and you can have all kinds of weird and wonderful things. I think at one point I made a miniature trampoline, and like when you use the trampoline like you do in Zelda to shield surf, you can do that, and rather than surfing it kind of bounced around, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm going to go back to it. It's on my list to go back to and finish, because it's one of those games that I feel like I need to finish it, because it's drawn me in and got me interested.
Very, very cool. I'm actually going to How Long to Beat, just because I'm interested in how long it takes to beat the little gator game. See if they know.
I'd say about 4 hours.
Boom! Main plus extra, 4 hours. Nicely done.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah,
cool.
I
like
want
you
to
said, there's cool little side quests everywhere to do, but there is just main quests that you can go and hammer. But it's got a huge open world aspect to it. So there's no you have to go to this point. It's like, hey, look, go over here and see this guy. But then you can wander through the things, climb up these mountains, hop from tree to tree, swim around a little bit, and just goof off, basically.
Nice. That sounds fun. Hey guys, when you go away for a week, you get back to your place of where you're at, and then there's like a bunch of work that needs to be done. Yeah, that's me. I'm buried in like trying to dig out from work from my vacation, so I have not played really anything, except for just hanging out with the kids on a few things. Mario v Donkey Kong, because that game just keeps on giving. And Rubber Bandits. My son has gotten into Rubber Bandits. That was an old Game Pass game, if you remember. It's no longer on Game Pass, but it was. A friend of his played it on the Switch, and he bought
it. Really weird, grabby physics game where you try to throw each other off places.
No, you can, but really, it's like you go in as a group of thieves, and you have to like try to get all the cash, and avoid the cops that drop down eventually, and then get to the escape.
Yeah.
So you can play it as like, we've been playing it as kind of like a co-op game. You can play it more of like who can get the most cash, but it can really be played either way. So, but yeah, you can throw each other off or shoot each other. They give you all kinds of random like rocket launchers and shotguns and all that.
Bartholomew as named it. It's Gang Beasts that I thought it was. That was kind of like the physics PvP style game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So. Which, trust me, my son absolutely loves that game. He is a master at climbing in that game, and I don't understand how you climb in that game, but he's a master at doing it. Whenever we do the ship in Gang Beasts, he climbs up the mast and just watches me sink as I try it. And I want to throw the controller at him because I love him so much. Anyways, so that's exactly, yeah. So that is what I have not been playing. I'm hoping to get the little gator game now. Actually, if I can get to that and Botany Manor and Harold Halibut, I don't know. Harold Halibut's pretty high on my list, though. I will play that. Well, we podcast on Tuesday. I will try to play that before Tuesday podcast for sure, because I'm really interested in the stop motion for pieces of that. So, faux show. Sean, what's on your docket? Well, you kind of told us a little bit.
A little bit more get a game. I really need to get some of the challenges, the quests finished on Fortnite. So I'd like to try and put some more time to Fortnite. I want to get that battle pass finished off so I can purchase for the next one. But yeah, they've just released a load of the main story stuff from this season. Those I kind of want to go back through those a little bit, and that's about it really. So I'm working this weekend, and then I'm off till April 26th. So I've got plenty of time to do that, but I've got some gardening stuff to do, and just enjoy the outside. The weather's getting better in the UK, so I want to be outside a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of weather being better, I'm going to take kids fishing on Saturday, so that's my plan.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Yay. That time of the year, folks. Okay, so this is our warning. Here it is. We are done with the dashboard. Feature story. We are going to talk about Fallout Episode 1. If you do not want to hear any conversation about this because you have not watched it, then we love you. We thank you. Have a great day. This is my outro. We love you. We thank you. Have a great day. See you next week. Adios. Okay? That's why Nick doesn't do the outro. I'm not even going to play the party chat music. We're just going to kind of chat.
Cool. Are you changing the scene for the party chat so if people want like?
Oh yeah, I can do that much.
Chat.
You're asking a lot, but I'll do that much.
Cool.
So anyway, so here we go. Sean, to be honest, I don't even. So first, let me set a scene for you. You have two really cool aspects. You have Sean. Which Fallouts have you played, John?
All of them apart from 76.
Okay. Sean has played all the Fallouts except for 76. Then you have me, which I have only played like 2 hours of Fallout 4 before Codsworth wouldn't give me my quest. And I said, F it, and gave up on it. And I have played like the Vault mobile game, which I got really sucked into. I know it's ridiculous, but whatever. So it's two really cool aspects of like, I really didn't. I had like a vague idea of what to expect. And Sean, who's like, yeah, I know all about all these people that they're showing. So Sean, first impressions, what did you think?
I loved it. From the moment it started, I was like, I'm gonna end up being hooked on this for sure. Just the homage to everything. So you've got like it's 2077 it's set in, but it looks like it's 1970 America, with you've got like the tube back TVs and stuff like that. So it's what they thought the future would be, but it's not, because we know what the future's like compared to that now. So you have all that. You've got the relationships, like they instantly start building the human side of relationships between people. The guy that's the cowboy, he's an old Hollywood actor that's obviously washed out a little bit.
I thought that was great.
So he's now having to do kids' parties. So you've got that aspect of it, and then you have the whole bombs going off kind of thing, which they bring in they talk about the thumbs up, which is the iconic Pip-Boy thing from Fallout. They explain what that was. So yeah, from the get-go, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me as well. I think that the whole thing is done. Well, the whole episode 1. I've watched episode 2 actually. I mean, listen. Let me tell you, folks. I have a job where I can easily kind of do my office work and watch something, and I have to be careful. I have to pick the right shows. And I thought, well, this will be the right show. This is not the right show, folks. Like something that should have taken like 15 minutes took an entire episode, because I was getting sucked in like nobody's business to this episode. I did such a good job. You were talking about the bombs dropping. what a great way to show like the juxtaposition. They put the kid seeing the bomb initially drop, and then the cowboy too, but they do it where there's like a glass so you can see like what life was as they're just having fun with this party, but you can also see the bomb getting closer in the glass, and it just was such like I would have I mean, obviously I'm not a director. I would have never thought to do that, but the way that they did that was so good. It was a great
Yeah.
start to that episode. To the series.
Yep. And then obviously after all the bombs go off and all the shockwaves come and things like that, it cuts to 291 years later. And you start the scene where you're looking at Lucy, who's in Vault 33. And she sits there and she's labeling off like, I do this, I'm trying to do this, my fertility is really high, I do this, I look after myself, blah, blah, blah. That to me was just a nod to the character creation section of Fallout 4 and Fallout. Well, not so much Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, but definitely Fallout 4, where you picked and designed your character's face, hair, the size of them, the attributes, and stuff like that. She was labeling all of those, and she's strong, she's savvy, so you've got like all where you sign your ability, not your ability, your stat points to strength or look or talk. She was going through all this where I have debate class, I teach, so like my skills of this. That to me was just a character customization thing, and they kind of did a really good job of portraying that without really making you think that's what they were portraying, because you didn't think of it like that when you first
I didn't even, it didn't even click to me, but like I said, I've only played a little bit of Fallout 4. But that, I mean, once you said it, I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I enjoy it as somebody who hasn't watched it or hasn't played it, because did you know what was going on? So we're spoiling. So, she's doing all this because she wants to be considered for a marriage, basically. And
yeah.
and so
I thought with all that considered for a marriage that you can only do the cousin thing for so long.
it was so good. And then when the guy like makes him act like the door's not working, and she's like,
Yeah.
we cousins can't. It's not a long-term plan. And he's like, I know.
Yeah.
But
It's like licking batteries.
I love
There's
it.
a bit of thrill, but you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. But like when they opened the vault and the other guys came in, were you like, oh yeah, these are raiders? Like, did you know that?
At first, yes. And then I kind of, as the scene goes on and they're all eating together, I was thinking to myself, that vault might have been full of people that weren't the same as that vault, because when you play Fallout 4, you can go to different vaults, and obviously depending on where the vault is within the Commonwealth, you've either got like the hoity-toity rich people, or you've got the railroadies type people that didn't have as much money, but they managed to get into the vault, so they kind of they are a bit more rough and tumble and things like that. But yeah, as that scene then later went on, and you get to the scene where the guy just drops his vault suit, and I was like, yeah, he's a raider. He's got bullet scars in his back.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. See, and I was starting to piece stuff together. I was like, okay, he's got scars. But I really wasn't like, oh, he's definitely a raider. I was just like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I didn't even really know what that term was at the time. I was just like, oh, wow, they'll probably talk about that, I mean, something happened. But then we're spoiled. And then when they get done with the marriage deed and he wipes himself clean on the curtains, I was like, that seems a little weird. I'm not really sure what's going on now. And then like you can tell she figures something out about that same time. And so I don't know, it was just and then like all hell breaks loose and there's blood everywhere, and it's just like it's a really pretty cool but very violent and gory like next 5 or 10 minutes
graphic
that
violence
ensues. Yeah.
And some of it's comical, like some of it was like the fighting scene in the corn, like the 3D cornfield that they kind of project. Some of that is quite funny where they're just throwing each other and like rugby tackling each other. But then there was like that really weird one where he pushes the guy's head onto the gun and shoots people through. I was like, somebody who's got some creative direction there. That's brilliant.
I know. This is the best. I was like, oh, okay, wow. All right. That's a thing that happened. um, so, yeah, and I thought those scenes were really good. You know, they bring out the stim pack right away, right? She gets stabbed in the stomach
Yeah.
and breaks in the stim pack and takes care of that problem. Um,
Oh, and they inhibit her as well. The inhibitor inhaler he takes to rage himself up.
oh, is that what that is? Okay, I figured it was something in the. Okay, all right, yeah.
So yeah, it's a drug based thing that kind of makes it so your attacks in the game are a bit more vicious and like you can run a bit faster for a bit longer and stuff. But
Okay.
it has adverse effects on your health.
Mm.
So because like he does that and then he charges at him, he trips and falls and ends up getting his head squashed by the vault door.
Yeah, that was fun. Um, and I thought the ending part too. I don't know if it was the ending. It was somewhere close to the end. I'm getting 1 and 2 maybe mixed together a bit. So
So
yeah, you go.
episode one you have Lucy, Maximus, and then the goal. So like as
Oh
Lucy's
yeah.
story is finished, you then jump to Maximus's story. Who Maximus is a recruit for the Brotherhood of Steel, and it's like you're kind of looking at the grunt kind of life of the Brotherhood of Steel before like they introduced the power armor and stuff like that. Which I thought that was a really good aspect because they kind of then gave the Brotherhood of Steel more tiers rather than just being these people that source like pre-war tech and stuff like that, and that are pretty vigilant. And they kind of give you how like obviously it's like an army kind of regiment in terms of they have grunts and they've got to work and up to being allowed to go out as squires and stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought that was yeah, that was interesting for me because that was something that I've never experienced. Like the first part with the vault and all that, it was like, okay, well, I don't know a ton about it, but I have seen it and I have played a bit in that world. But yeah, the Brotherhood of Steel, that was all new to me. So talk to me about the ghoul a little bit. Like the third one is this cowboy that's buried. I don't explain to me
Yeah,
a little bit
so
about the video game side of this.
so ghouls are mutants. Basically, they're people that have like lived on the surface, been affected by radiation, have mutated ever so slightly. So like for him, he's got his skin's come away a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got no nose, so the cartilage dissolved away. But they can live on the surface and they live for a very long time. Some of them have like lived for the entirety of the Commonwealth. Well, he has to have lived
Yeah.
291 years
Yeah.
on the surface because the goal that we first see where he's in the ground and comes up, he is the cowboy from the pre-war section, not the pre-explosion section of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to have lived for that long. Um, I didn't quite understand the story with that. It was a bit hard to follow. Like, were they there to like kill him, or were they there to hire him? I don't know. But anyway, he ended up killing these three guys and then walks off. And it's like, oh, okay.
Okay, well that's good because so I actually might go back and rewatch that part because I was confused. Somebody sent those three to raise him from the dead or to raise him from his grave. I don't understand. I didn't really get the part. And they said he cuts off pieces of him every so many, like I don't know, every so many decades or something. And so yeah, I was confused on what happened, but yeah, I mean it was very evident they lost the battle. uh,
Yeah. And then the end of that episode, um, you know, once all that's over and done with, it kind of flashes up a scene with the cowboy guy in black and white, and he kind of says, "Here, let me shine a light on stuff," and they give like a prelude to everything that's going to happen later on in the show, and some of the stuff looks amazing.
yeah.
I mean, some of the battles with the power armor look great. The rad roaches and stuff like that being in there, and then the giant like Deathclaw looking monster that comes jumping out of the water. So there's a lot to come, and I'm super excited for this show. Like really, really excited.
Yeah, I am. I am as well. They have obviously taken good care with the lore, and they've taken good care with the animations, and it just feels good. It feels right. It's good. It's really really
Yeah,
good.
the integration of the Pip Boy as well. So like when she kind of twigs that he's a raider in the bedroom in the living quarters, and she points the Pip Boy at him, and it starts clicking because of the radiation
Uh-huh.
coming off him. And like when she first steps out into the overworld
Yeah.
on the Commonwealth, and like you can hear it going off. Like I like that integration. So I like the fact that they've designed this what looks like a working Pip Boy.
Okay. So the Pip Boy is the wrist, what the gigantic
Yeah, it's
wrist
like the
thing.
giant watch thing
Yeah. Okay.
that they had.
All right. Now I get it. Yep. I am super excited to watch these all probably very quickly. So
Yeah.
they're good.
And I like that Lucy's story as well is like in Fallout 4, you play a guy whose son gets kidnapped and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've they've taken that story and gone, okay, so you're going to play the daughter of the overseer who's been kidnapped. So
Okay. Because in Fallout 4, it was just a vault person, right? It was just a regular vault person.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. And yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think the fact that they didn't follow like the video game storyline is great. I think it's very interesting to kind of move away from episode 1 of Fallout. It's very interesting to see all the different takes on how this is done, right? Um you have Left Behind series that kind of follows the. Did I lose you, or are you just reading something right now? Because you look frozen.
no,
Okay,
sorry, I'm just
you are fine.
looking at stuff.
No, you're fine. I just you were very intense, so I was like, I'm not sure if he's frozen or not. So you have the Left Behind series that pretty much follows the video game script, right? Like not word for word, and I know they did some changes, and there were some, the Nick Offerman the piece and all that, and so, but overall, that follows what the video game was. Then you have Fallout, which is a totally different story. And then you kind of have Master Chief, which is also taking bits and pieces from different parts of the story, but pretty much its own story as well. So I think it's interesting to see how like all these different series are doing their own bits and pieces of how that works out.
Yeah, for sure. And I said this before we started. We've been well and truly spoiled recently with video game adaptations to shows. Like The Last of Us was fantastic. Halo, I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
I finished season 2 now. Um, you know, and if you want to talk about films, Super Mario, Sonic, I think now, um, you know, potentially because obviously we've got the abilities with CGI and stuff like that, but because the people that are now getting behind these games to be made into series, I think we're getting a generation of directors and videographers and stuff like that, and people that were invested in playing those games
Yeah,
are taking
definitely.
a really, really good care into things like the law behind stuff because they know that if they fuck that up, they're going to lose people left, right, and center.
Yep, I 100% agree in that part of like, yeah, you can tell these people are players of the game, not just somebody that's like, oh yeah, so there's a guy and he shoots fireballs from his face, and so yeah, let's make a thing about him, and then he jumps on brown little bugs, and so sure, yeah, we can make that. That's fine. So yeah, I totally...
like the original Super Mario movie where the Goombas were giant, huge things that just
yeah
danced around. It's
100%. All right, anything else before you sign us out, sir?
No, I'm definitely gonna try and get episode 2 done. I might do that tomorrow when I'm kind of chilling out.
That's good.
Put it on Lindsay's laptop and lay on the bed and watch it. And if I fall asleep, I know I can loop back, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
That's my plan. But yeah. So thanks very much for hanging with us. And going for that, if you have any thoughts and feelings about the first episode of Fallout, then do reach out and talk to us about it. I think it's going to be one of these things. It's massive. It's huge. It's like a massive budget that's been spent on it. I think it's going to be very, very well done. But yeah, and thank you to everyone else. If you've skipped the spoiler part and you've gone to like, okay, where can I get to the end to listen to Sean say goodbye to everybody? Thanks for listening to us this week. We covered the Saber Interactive CEO and the price of games quite heavy, which could have been like a double feature for this week. But yeah, if you want to get in touch with me on X, you can do. It's Sean_Abbott. And if you want to get in touch with my good man here, Nick, he is at Nick Tendo. That's 10DOH. Reach out to us, give us a shout anytime. We're very approachable. We might bite, we might not bite. I'm just kidding. Anyway, thanks very much, guys, for listening. And until next time, we shall see you later.
See you later, guys.